What's up everyone, and welcome to the channel. So for today's head-to-head comparison, we're going to take a look at the Toyota Supra and the BMW M240i. Both of these cars are provided by 704 Exotics, so check out their website. That link is down in the description. Also be sure to check out the full detailed reviews that I did for both of these. So if you want to see a little bit more in-depth driving and some of the features and specs, be sure to check out those separate videos. So for today, let's take a look at both of these BMWs. We'll see the similarities and the differences between each of them. So let's start off with what powers both of these models. Underneath the hood for the Toyota Supra, this has the 3-liter twin-scroll turbo. It's the inline 6-cylinder. This is paired to either the 6-speed manual or the 8-speed automatic. And then for the BMW 3-liter twin-power turbo inline 6, only paired to the 8-speed automatic. Now, both of these pump out 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. We have the X-Drive all-wheel drive system for the M240, and then only rear-wheel drive for the Toyota Supra. Curb weight for the Supra, 3,400 pounds, 3,800 pounds for the 240. It has back seats. It's a little bit bigger of a vehicle overall. 0 to 60, 3.8 seconds, just over 4 seconds. Now that will differ on the Supra manual versus the automatic. They have the same top speed, 155, and then the same fuel capacity. However, MPG 23 and 31, and then you have 23 and 32. So pretty much virtually identical. And as far as MSRPs go, Supra, you can get a 4-cylinder, so there's only one engine option for the 240. You can get a 4-cylinder for the Supra, which starts in the mid to high 40s, and then you can get the inline 6, which is roughly 55, 56. For the M240i, it's right around that same price point, engine for engine. So those are all the performance numbers for both of these cars. Let's move on to the exterior styling now. For the Toyota BMW Supra, this has a little bit of that Mark IV design, just in a little bit more of a modern look and a modern twist to it. So we have the Toyota badge, LED headlights, which are much larger than the 240. Lots of inlets though in the lower section, along with parking sensors. And then for the 240, you have a split design for the grills. So a little bit of a bullnose design up top with just inlets in the lower section. You have that traditional kidney design with inlets in the lower section, even a forward-facing camera, which you can't get on the Supra. So you have a little bit more of those BMW refinements, even though we do have a BMW over here. And so just a personal preference, really. I think they both look good for the car that they are. We have a little bit of a bulge in the hood on the 240. Some cleaner lines come down the Supra. You also notice how much lower the Supra sits than this 240. And so as we work our way to the side designs now, we have a much different wheel, of course. We have the M Sport brakes. We have the Toyota Supra brakes there, both red, and then just different wheel designs. You can get a few options on the 240. You can only get this wheel for the Supra. I don't think there's any other wheel options. So you have a little bit more options that you can go with for the 240. We have the power folding side mirrors with the turn signal 360 camera system here. We have the turn signal no camera underneath, so you just get the backup camera on the Supra. Now as far as the rest of the sides go, on the BMW, we have that newer door handle design, very flush and integrated into the door, gloss black on the lower side skirt, much more boxy appearance and design to it, especially when you compare to previous BMW sports cars and when you compare it to the BMW Supra. A lot more sleek and flow to its design. We even have a large trim piece just underneath the door handle. We have the trim for that window that comes to a point. Obviously back seats for the 240, so much larger, but a lot more sleek looking, a lot more boxy looking, a little bit taller for the roof line there. But again, personal preference, I think they both look good for the car that they are. Now let's work our way to the rear for the Supra. We got the LED taillights, backup camera, sensors, dual exhaust, all of the gloss black in that lower section. On the 240, small trunk mounted spoiler, backup camera, LED taillights, all the sensors, dual exhaust, and gloss black. So very similar in what design characteristics and elements that they have, just of course, much differently shaped. Now, as we work our way to the 240 trunk space, you have a good amount of space. There's no storage underneath the floor, but you have compartments on both sides, and with the back seats, you can actually fold them down. So that gives you a lot of interior space for this sports car, making it a great daily driver. Over on the Supra, no trunk button. That is something that Toyota definitely needs to work on. It makes that a lot more practical because you have to find your keys and then you can pop this open. Now you'll notice right off the bat how much smaller this section is, but you can still fit in some items. You can see all the way up to the front seats there. If you don't opt for that upgraded audio, you can get a little bit more storage without those, but it's good for the type of vehicle that this is. Two-door sports car, you still have practicality if you only want those two seats. So again, a little bit tighter, of course, since this is a four-seater. But we're on the driver's side now for the Supra. Let's take a look at this interior. And you have some nice materials, very nice two-tone for the seat options, memory seating controls too. And on the interior, you are going to see a BMW. Toyota partnered with BMW, so a lot of this is BMW technology. We have the steering wheel, all of the controls on it. This model is the 6-speed manual. So like I mentioned earlier, you can get the manual or you can get the automatic. That is the same as the 240. We have the screen up top where you can go through some info. Again, check out the full reviews. And then all of this is going to be identical as what you will see here soon, including these controls, wireless charging. We have sport mode, a few other controls you can use. There are cup holders in the middle and storage behind that. No center armrest though, so that's all you get in the middle. And then you have your glove box space for all of that. Visibility is also pretty easy to see. We have a large pillar there, but my brother will tell you from ownership experience, it's really not all that hard. And obviously you can see into the back there. So for the Supra, for its price point, I think it's a very nice interior. You do get a trunk button on that door there too. And then as we work our way to the BMW now, we have, I would say, a pretty similar interior. We have different seats, but you can get a lot more seat options in the 240 than you can in the Supra. So you could actually rack this MSRP up to above the Supra depending on the options that you get. Now we have similar controls. We have the automatic. Paddles are going to be the same again on the Supra. A little bit of storage on this side. You have very similar screen and controls here. Wireless charging, cup holders, they're a little bit more hidden because on this, you actually get an armrest. And then we have pretty similar layout. You get more drive modes here, sport, comfort, eco, and adaptive than you do in the Supra there. Glove boxes, pretty much the same. We do get a sunroof for this. And then a lot larger of an interior, of course, since there's back seats. So you don't have that pillar right up behind your head. Gives you a lot more visibility. And then you do get a trunk button down there as well. So there's a quick run through for the performance, exterior and interiors for the 240 and the Toyota Supra. Now let's get both of these out on the road. We have the auto and the manual, so we can test both of them and see what they're like. We'll start off in the 240. Very quick for the shifts. Now this is going to be very similar for the automatic Supra as well. So if you're not a 3 pedals kind of person, you don't really care about the manual transmission, and you want a little bit more practicality without jumping up to the M2, which you can get in a manual, 240i is going to be a fantastic choice. You get the power plant, similar to the Supra of course, so you have a lot of tuning and modding potential for this car. And again, practicality with the back seats and just the amount of space and usability that this sports car has to offer. Now, being a BMW, it's very refined feeling. It drives incredibly smooth. You have the different drive modes, a lot of technology that you can go through in this gauge cluster setup here, which is very nice. Large digital gauge cluster too. And so you have a very nice vehicle that you can daily drive. We have some upgraded goodies like the Harman Kardon, and like I mentioned earlier, you have a lot of basically options that you can spec this the way that you would like to. So it's a very nice sports car for the money. If you want something a little bit more on that exotic side as far as being you're a German brand, you can get into a BMW for not much more than some other vehicles that are going to offer back seats and a nice drive like this. So it's pretty cool that you can get into something like this for a very similar price as other vehicles if you want something that's a little bit more luxury and it's going to give you that refined feel and drive. We don't have a very loud vehicle either, so the exhaust note is very mild, toned back, but it definitely sounds good, and those shifts are super quick. So let's jump into the Supra. Here we go in the Supra. A little bit louder, I will say, and of course we have that manual transmission, which is super fun to drive. Now in this comparison, I'm not able to get these on some twisty roads, but hopefully you can tell right off the bat, Supra, much more confined, much more tighter. It's going to be a lot more nimble, weighing about 400 pounds less than the 240i. And so you have a lot more compact of a sports car, a lot more sporty, of course, in feeling than the 240, since that's more open feeling and just gives you that kind of bigger vibe in a sense. Very hunkered down in this, low windows, low roof line, but it is still fun to drive nonetheless. As you can tell with the screen, much smaller. We do have some other similar layouts here like you've already seen. And then a very simple gauge cluster setup. And so we have two very different feeling vehicles with very similar handling characteristics and performance. So it really just boils down to which one you're going to like more, of course, which one is going to best suit your needs as far as if you only have one person to bring with you or you have several. Manual is so easy to drive too, but automatic is going to handle just like that 240. So be sure to check out our separate videos. We did a lot more mountain driving in an M2 versus the 240, but very similar in how it will perform. And check out the Toyota Supra playlist as well, since my brother is on his second Supra, if you want to check out more content. And subscribe because a 240 might be coming to the channel at some point if you want to see some ownership experience when that time comes. But for the Supra here, it's not too loud, feels like it's refined like the Supra, of course, since it has BMW in it, but it's also got that sporty vibe too, because of course that was the goal for the Supra. But let's get back and finish this up. All right, and with the test drives done, unfortunately I wasn't able to go on any twisty roads, but like I said earlier, check out the Supra playlist to see taking the Supra to the mountains. We also have some BMW M2s and 230s and some twisty roads if you want to see how that drives. So both are going to be very fun and cool, affordable sports cars, just depending on your budget and what you're looking to get. I think it's very cool that Toyota partnered with BMW for the Supra, and since they have a stake in BMW now, it's going to be much more reliable than previous years. So you're getting two reliable vehicles, you're getting two well-performance oriented sports cars for that roughly under $60,000 price point. You really can't go wrong with either one. So again, just depending on what you need, two-door versus four-door, or the manual versus the automatic. I hope you guys enjoyed today's head-to-head comparison with the Supra and the M240. Again, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a huge thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video.